In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to use my calorie calculator to work out exactly how many calories you should be eating and also what macronutrients. Whatever your goal, whether it's building muscle, losing weight, or just maintaining a healthy weight, there's something there for you. I'll also give you some tips near the end to help you stay on track with your diet. I've used a few of these over the years, and one in particular I've been using for a long time, but I kept changing the results based on my knowledge of nutrition. So I figured that if I'm going to direct you to one of these to help you manage your nutrition, then I may as well just make one myself. And if I'm going to do that, it better be backed up by data and science. Cue several research rabbit holes and many complex equations later, and I present to you the world's best calorie calculator. Probably. It may not be the prettiest, but it's the numbers that count, and this thing works out everything for you. You can download it down in the description below, and if you like the idea of all the maths being done for you, go ahead and give this video a like.
There are two modes to this, a basic and an advanced one. There are some slight differences in goals, but the main difference is how you track exercise, which we'll get into in a second. So it's pretty straightforward. You select your sex in this drop down here, then you type in your age, height in centimeters, and weight in kilograms. Next, put in your approximate body fat percentage. It doesn't really matter how you do this. You can use calipers, scales, or even just go off a comparison image if you Google body fat percentage pictures. No method is perfect, so don't worry too much about it, as long as you're in the right ballpark. Finally, enter your goal here. I've given a range of options from just losing weight, maintaining weight with little heavy exercise, building muscle, and maintaining or even gaining muscle whilst losing fat.
Now, I can't advise what is best for you, but I would only choose the pure weight loss option if you've got a significant amount of weight to lose or you really want to lose it quickly. This is because it increases your chance of losing muscle mass. And muscle, besides generally being useful, also increases your metabolism, meaning that you can eat more food without gaining weight. In the long term, a slower approach that maintains muscle mass is probably going to be more effective and mean less hardship through the diet as well. That being said, if you're going to go down the maintain muscle mass route, you need to be doing resistance-based exercises to maximize your chance of keeping it.
Once you've selected your goal, you can then, in this box, add in roughly how much exercise you're doing each week. With that done, we can see over here how much you should be eating in terms of calories, protein, your minimum amount of fat, and carbohydrates. You've also got maximum fat over here and the corresponding number of carbohydrates. You can adjust these to fit how you prefer to eat or what suits you for your energy in your workout, but don't go outside of these levels. This is the minimum fat that you should have to maintain healthy body function, and this is the maximum that's recommended by the World Health Organization.
You can use these numbers to get you started towards your goal, but remember to periodically revisit this calculator as your body composition and weight change. If you lose 5 kilos, you're going to need to eat less food. If you're doing a short diet, as I recommended in the last video, you can probably get away with just setting your targets at the beginning and then revisit once you hit your maintenance phase. Now, if you pop these percentages into MyFitnessPal, or at least close to them, you'll be well on your way to tracking your needs.
Finally, down here we can see our expected weekly progress in these charts and graphs. This is based on the goal that you selected. Now let's look at the advanced tab. Here we have a different way to enter exercise. Rather than just doing an amount of activity each week, we can actually select different exercises in this drop down. Then you could enter in how many hours you've done that exercise for and automatically calculate the amount of calories that you're going to be burning. That will calculate in turn how much you should be eating per day. This will allow you to get even more accurate results than just going by general activity level we've got in the basic calculator. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that this is actual active time. So if you go for a 2-hour walk but spend half an hour of it standing around, put in 1.5 hours. If you go to the gym for 2 hours but only spend an hour of it actively lifting weights, and the rest is setup time and rest time, only put in 1 hour. Alternatively, if you use a fitness tracker and are pretty consistent, you can track your actual calories burned for a week and then multiply it by about 0.7 to work out how much extra you can eat across a week. This multiplication will take into account the fact that increased exercise activity tends to lead to less subconscious non-exercise activity, like tapping your foot.
Now you have the numbers, here are some extra tips on helping you stick to your diet. First of all, it's okay to try different strategies if you're finding calorie counting difficult, but give it a good go. It is the only guaranteed method if you stick to it. But if you feel you do need to try something else, start by counting calories still whilst you transition over so you can get an idea of how much you're actually eating. Tip 2, put high calorie foods out of reach, like up on a shelf out of sight that you need a step to get to. That extra effort can make a difference, and out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes. Tip 3 is to remember that your weight will vary across the week as you eat and drink different amounts. So weigh yourself every single day, but don't get worried about that specific measurement. Instead, average the weight out over the entire week. Then you can look at how those averages are changing week to week and not each individual fluctuation. If you find you're not progressing as expected after a few weeks, adjust your calories up or down by about 200 calories as needed. Remember, all calorie calculators are just estimates because everybody is slightly different. Tip number 4, try to hit those protein numbers. It can be difficult, especially if you're not using powders. But protein really helps reduce hunger. If you find energy levels are an issue, don't decrease your protein in order to up the carbs. Instead, up your overall calories and just add in a little bit of extra activity. Which leads nicely into tip number 5. Try and get extra activity wherever you can. You can eat more. Plus, getting up and moving about is really good for us. Sitting all day does really bad things for our bodies. I aim for 5,000 steps a day. It's enough to make sure I get up from my desk, but not so much that it takes up a big chunk of my day to reach it. My final tip is plan ahead. Don't just log what you eat as you go along. At the very least, when you get up in the morning, plan out all of your food for the day and enter it into MyFitnessPal. That way you can make sure that you're hitting your targets, and if not, you can adjust as necessary. It's okay to stray from the plan from time to time, but if you at least have a plan, you'll be more successful in the long term. If you want details on the assumptions used in this calculator, you can find them in the link below. I hope you find this useful, and I'd love to hear how you get on. If you do end up using it, you log your food consistently, and you're tracking your weight and your body fat percentage, I would love it for you to share your data with me, and maybe over time we can make this calculator even better. Also, if you're a computer whiz and you can help me make this a little bit more beautiful and maybe even be web-based, then I'd love to hear from you too. Don't forget to subscribe and obviously hit the notification bell so that when the next video on maintenance phases comes out, you won't miss it, and I shall see you soon. Cheers.